One morning, Toby the tram engine was feeling glum. It had been some time since he'd taken any passengers with Henrietta. All he could do was sit and watch the other engines busily working in the yard. Just then, Gordon puffed in to take on water. "Oh, hello, Gordon," said Toby. "Are you pulling the express today?" "Who else but me, little Toby?" huffed Gordon. "You're lucky to always have passengers," said Toby sadly. "Henrietta and I haven't gone this long without work since... well, not since my old tramway closed down." Then Toby remembered. "It was back in the good old days," chuckled Toby. "We had our own line, hauled goods, and Henrietta was always bustling with passengers. They'd visit us on holidays, and they always remembered our names. But then they stopped coming back. My line was closed and the good old days were over." "It would be nice to have my old tramway again," sighed Toby. "Like having my own branch line." "Pah!" snorted Gordon. "Branch lines are just useless extensions of the important main line. That's all the fat controller cares about." And he puffed rudely away. Just then, Thomas puffed in with some trucks. He saw Toby looking dismayed. "What's the matter, Toby?" asked Thomas. "Oh, just miss being useful," replied Toby. "But if I could just have some work to do." Thomas smiled. "Why don't you take that train of building supplies to Percy for me? They're needed up at the worksite for the new main line extension," said Thomas. "Then I'll be able to collect the fat controller early and you'll have some work to do." Toby was excited, though the extension was new to him. "Come on, Toby," said his driver. "We'll take Thomas's branch line to give you a nice long run." Toby was now beaming with joy. He reversed onto Thomas's train, then set off for the worksite. But as he puffed down the line, he couldn't stop thinking about what Gordon had said. "The fat controller really does only care about the main line," he thought to himself. Meanwhile, Percy was fuming. "Where's Thomas? I'm exhausted," he complained. "He'll be here soon," soothed his driver. "But we must remind him not to spoil the surprise." Percy was puzzled. "What surprise?" he asked. Before his driver could answer, Toby arrived. "Here are the building supplies, Percy." "Toby? What are you doing here?" snapped Percy. "I'm sorry. Thomas said I could deliver these supplies for him. Is there anything else I can do to help?" Percy eyed a long line of trucks full of scrap and tree branches. "You could take those trucks back to the yard for me," he replied. The train looked quite heavy for Toby, but he agreed. He rolled on to a special junction, called a Y, to change direction. He then buffered up to the heavy train and was on his way. Soon, Toby was pushing the heavy train up a big hill. He made a tremendous effort, but just as he reached the top, the weight of the trucks became too much. His driver shut off steam and tried to apply the brakes, but it was too late. "On! On! On!" yelled the trucks. As Toby thundered towards the worksite, he saw Percy dead ahead on his track. "Look out, Percy!" Toby cried. He rocketed past Percy and disappeared into some bushes. Toby shut his eyes and braked as hard as he could. At last he came to a stop beside an old station and in front of an old engine shed. When Toby opened his eyes, he couldn't believe where he was. Percy pulled up behind him. "Are you all right, Toby?" he gasped. Toby was bubbling with excitement. "Percy, this is my old tramway! And look, there's my old shed! I never thought I'd see it again!" Just then, Thomas arrived with some workmen and the fat controller. He spoke sternly to Toby. "You should know your own strength by now, Toby." "I'm sorry, sir, but I only wanted to help." "I am aware of that. I'm just glad to see you're safe, although it's a shame you spoiled your surprise." Toby was confused. My surprise, sir? Yes, Toby. Our new extension is in fact a restoration. We are restoring and connecting your tramway to the main line and Thomas's branch line. Toby grinned from buffer to buffer. He almost couldn't believe it. Oh, sir. Thank you, sir. He cheered happily. When the restoration was complete, Toby and Henrietta took a special charter of friends, old and new, down the line on an opening run. For Toby, it seemed the good old days were here to stay.